if you can bear your pain, and then you can bear other people's pain, you can actually create something that's so massively transformative. You can actually instill hope in yourself.
So I'm here in New York at the World Innovation Summit with Kunal Sood from Ex-Fellows and NOVUS, and he's done some exceptional things in his career. So I wanted to take the time not only to hear a little bit more about his story and where he came from, but also the impact that you want to make on other people.
Yeah, so my work is mainly guided by two things: my massive transformative purpose, and as you said, the exponential impact it's going to have in a positive sense on the people I live and work with.
And what's helped to shape that? So one thing I love to hear is essentially the origin story, right? You know, there's a time when we all went to school, we all graduated, and we all wanted to go into either college or entrepreneurship. Where was that point where you know, had this in this direction and you were like, I want to go this way?
It was actually pretty tragic.
Okay.
I was on a good road with my father and my mom in India. I was working for my dad, the family business during the day, and at night I got to do what I love, which is integrative medicine. The idea of working with people that are sick and unhealthy. And I was a wellness apprentice to my mentor and godfather, who was India's first cardiologist, highly renowned, yeah. And he passed away suddenly through tragic circumstances, suicide.
Okay.
So when he committed suicide, it kind of threw my entire universe upside down, because I had this vision of being, you know, ironsmith. Me and my dad, we make automobile components by day and like a healer by night. And that kind of completely obliterated my reality when he went away, and I couldn't think about that anymore. So that was the nexus point where I really had to revisit my true purpose, my true meaning, and why I was here. And I came to the US to find that purpose, and I found it through really going deep within and then allowing what came up to manifest on the outside. And what I found was I have this, I'd say, you know, we all have gifts, strengths, and weaknesses. And my gifts and strengths are that I can create extraordinary experiences and design them and kind of like create the conditions for people to fly in a room with their voice. I started out with TEDx. I organized TEDx at the UN, at the United Nations.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then I started my own baby a few years later after doing tons of other stuff, Singularity University, X Prize. You know, I just partnered with all these people because I wanted to surround myself with the most extraordinary minds on earth and hearts and just people that are doing amazing stuff. And then I started NOVUS, which is the goal of NOVUS, or the vision of NOVUS, is to transform the world using the SDGs, which are the 17 global goals of the United Nations, as a framework. And then I started Ex-Fellows, which is a community of the most extraordinary human beings on earth that are focused on extraordinary citizenship. And I believe that's something that we need here and now. We've got a ton of global citizens. Now we have to push ourselves to become extraordinary citizens and go above and beyond just being famous or influential or an influencer. Because that's not enough. You know, I think when you go from influence to impact and you see the real results that you can measure in a person's life that you've touched, and they come to you and not just say you changed my life, but you feel you changed their lives. So it's a reciprocity, you know?
Yeah.
To me, that is true purpose meets impact.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things that I always try to tell people in my narrative is like, my goal is never to inspire someone. I want to impact you. That means it's going to make a lasting impression on you to come, and in order for that to actually happen, people have to put down walls. They have to open up barriers. They have to be vulnerable, right? And you talked about something a moment ago about being an influencer, being influential, and with social media, that seems to be everyone's goal, is to be an influencer. But where is the impact? And what do you see changing, and would you give advice to somebody who's becoming an influencer so that they don't lose themselves?
Look, I like influencers. I don't dislike them. I think they're really cool. Some of them I just don't like when they use influence for selfish reasons. You know, that doesn't necessarily promote the right values. And look, some people think those are the right values, right? So I feel like becoming an influencer in itself is a noble goal, and it's a hard task. So bravo. But I think when you can align that with your integrity and your value set around creating something that's larger than yourself, and to me that's like the biggest thing you can do in life. When you can make things that are about you larger than yourself and about serving the people, then all of a sudden your influence makes impact.
Yeah.
Because you've gone beyond just you. You've gone above and beyond that idea of it's my world, it's my life, I'm gonna get what I need. I'm all about go-getting, achieve, positive relationships, meaning, all of that is great, but it's much cooler when you're a go-giver.
Yeah, so that is such an amazing term I've never heard before, is go-giver.
Yeah, so that's what I found in NOVUS was being the first tribe of go-givers. And now it's become a network because it's grown.
Yeah.
You know, but the truth is it's about giving. Giving is the heart of NOVUS. We should make giving not the exception but the norm around giving to each other. I believe that, you know, and it's not like you should give with an expectation. That's a transaction.
Yes.
I'm talking about true reciprocity, which is give without expectation, and if it comes back to you in a way that you feel like it was meant to, wonderful. If it doesn't, let it go.
Yeah, and continue to move and continue to do good.
Because there's something that comes back. The reciprocity comes back energetically too.
Yeah, and this story is so important because my background and where you come from are very similar. Where when I was very young, when I was 12 years old, my mom tried to commit suicide, and that's what changed my life completely.
Wow.
And my brother was my guiding light, and I was so lost until I was freaking 19 years old. I was a loser. I had no real direction. And the thing that helped me to redefine my identity was to look at the impact that my lack of action was having on him, because he had then solely to take care of her and to provide her. And then what took her into the next step, and it took all of us into the next step, was to say, I'm no longer going to be a victim. I'm going to now allow my drive to change me. And she started to change. She started to get more hungry. She started to be more diligent so that we could leave the nest and begin to grow. And then when I seen her making that decision so that I could do better, I realized that what I was doing wasn't enough, and then if I did more, it could inspire her more. So the farther we stretched our goals and the farther we stretched ourselves, the further she stretched as well. And I've seen a transformation over the past 8-9 years of my life, dude, through doing the good and not asking for anything to come back to me, because I know that if I achieve my goals, it's going to help my family intrinsically. And I always go to this book by Daniel Pink. It's about drive, intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators. And it's so crazy because we talk about this in a lot of our interviews, is that trauma is usually the event that changes people. But how do we change them prior to trauma? How do we get them to not have the extreme be the defining moments in their lives?
Exactly, and I think that's the power of wisdom, practical wisdom meets generational youth. And I think that's the magic bullet, where the elders or the wisdom seekers are paralleled with extraordinary human beings like yourself, right? So we can protect you like your brother did. He was your keeper, right? And that's so powerful because that gave you the courage, the compassion, and the strength to rise above pain. Because pain can kill you.
Yes.
Right? But if it doesn't kill you, it can do something even more powerful. You can bear other people's pain. You can actually create something that's so massively transformative. You can actually instill hope in yourself. And that hope can become a guiding light for your magnum opus, whatever that may be. It could be being an influencer, it could be being a CEO, it could be being Mother Teresa. All of them have their light.
Yes.
It's just about following that guided sense of, who you are without forgetting where you came from.
100%, and that's something that you have to constantly remind yourself of, and so do I, because even being at events like this, I sometimes feel like the elephant in the room, right?
Where I am the elephant in the room.
Yeah, right.
I pride myself on being the elephant in the room.
Do I?
So funny, today my Grammy Award winning friend Ricky Cage on stage, right?
Okay.
So when showed that video of the elephant, that's pretty much me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I always called myself the elephant in the family. I was born an elephant. You know, I literally see myself as the elephant in the room. And I love being the elephant because I think elephants are beautiful creatures. You know, they're not here to harm you, you know, and often they protect you.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And they're tribal creatures too, so they protect their own and they protect others. Like, they protect animals that are in danger, you know?
Yeah.
So I love being the elephant. So
yeah, you have
find
to embrace
yourself
it. And I
being the elephant,
definitely
you know?
try because, you know, it's like in these types of settings, you know, there's so many amazing people that sometimes you forget your own life.
Of course.
And it's awesome to see that you're helping to fuel other people's lives through your journey.
Yeah.
So a couple of the things I want to ask you is, you know, when you talked about building your business around those UN goals, you don't
only
have to
one
say
of them,
all
NOVUS,
Okay.
is around the UN goals. X-Fellows is beyond the UN.
Yeah.
So the UN is very powerful to unite people. The X-Fellows is the outliers.
Okay.
The ones who dare, dream, do, and die.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to die. If you die, you die. But you would have died doing something you believe in every life of your breath. Right? And that is what I believe is the purpose of being alive.
Yeah.
If you can do something in your life without fear or favor, you know, and you can go after it with the tenacity and the veracity of being true to yourself while being in service of others, that's a life worth living.
And that is one of the most impactful things I've ever heard, and it's so true. And honestly, I think that's been a motivator for my brother and then myself. Is, you know, our inspiration is our mother, and so that when you think about when am I going to work, I'm going to work today, I'm willing to die for her, and I'm willing to do anything for my mission. I mean, shoot, before we got into our accelerator and to get our venture funding, I had $300 left in my bank account because I'm like, might go over broke, but this feels right. And right in that darkest moment in my life, the brightest moment came right after.
It's like the darkest before the night, before the sunrise. Right?
Yes, and it's been beautiful.
Just that, yeah, me too. I was dark. You know, I was in the dark, and then suddenly God opened up the light.
Yeah.
You know, whatever God is, to me, God is everything.
Yeah.
Work, love, family, my enemies. They're sometimes my biggest God.
It's everywhere. It is everywhere. So with that, in closing, I would say, you know, our audience is a variety of individuals, from executive leaders to entrepreneurs that are growing,
musicians,
and
artists,
everyone. So when we start to grow and we start to grind, we break through that, and we get this revolutionary change in our life. How do you? What would you say to give advice just to maintain it? Because it's hard. It's hard.
Maintenance is something that you have to just do, like chop wood, pour water on yourself, and you just have to do it every day. Because the thing about life is it can completely turn on you, right? But as long as you stay consistent, you know, you at least have a sense of what you're good at, right? So for me, it's about getting really good at something and then owning it as if it was part of your strength and not something that you kind of think you're good at, you know? If you're good at something, own it. Yeah, own it, claim it, give it to others, if you can. You know, if you can share it with others who want it, share it. So I think the biggest way to stay in a place, as you said, of consistency or, you know, let's call it happiness, is in a place where you give, you know, what you've learned, so that when you go, that legacy echoes through eternity of what you built, of what you share.
Amen to that. So always remember these key points is, first, don't let the trauma take you. You want to build something, you want to be pushed, you want to break through something. Trauma creates breakthroughs, but prior to that, you have to have the wisdom and the knowledge and the access to be able to grow and to be able to have vision and be willing to sacrifice for that vision and to make it an intrinsic part of your DNA and who you are, and make the sacrifices to continue to grow. So just be beautiful, be bold, be strong, and always support those around you. There's no way that you can build anything without others. A corporation or a product or anything has nothing unless it has the ability to serve people, because that's what its value is based upon, is the demand. So just keep that in mind. And Kunal, how can people find you?
The best way to find me is just Google me. Kunal Sood. I actually show up.
I would hope it's all if you does.
So, Just connect with me on LinkedIn. I always say yes.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, stay in touch with us and reach out to Kunal. If you have any questions, please let me know. I can forward them to him, but really excited to see how you all react to this message because it's impacted me greatly, and I know that I'm going to go back and work even harder after finding the energy that I just got from this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.